Hi, how are you? I am just coming on here to chat with you about diet and concepts that come through my mind, especially when I'm driving and when I'm just chilling around the house and thinking about these kinds of things, because I'm always trying to learn and be better for myself on how to properly fuel my body and how to take care of myself the best I can so that I'm in a fantastic mood as often as possible, because I became aware that my mood was very closely related to how I ate food. And when I realized that, then I was like, oh, I really need to learn how to stay stable in my food intake so I stay stable in my mood. So anyway, I have been thinking about it a lot lately, and it's funny because sugar is one word in the two. Blood sugar. Sugar is one of the words. And the sugar diet is something that came up big time lately in the community, in the bodybuilding community. And Stephanie posted videos about the sugar diet and her experiment with the sugar diet. It's kind of like a tool. It's something that we use for a short term, right? So anyway, the sugar diet, blood sugar. Why I thought it was funny is because I often see comments that come in that are just like, oh, sugar is the enemy. Sugar is the devil. Sugar is so bad for us. Sugar causes all the problems. Diabetes, sugar causes cancer. Sugar is the problem, right? But isn't it interesting how blood sugar is the other half of blood sugar? It's one of the words. So we actually are running on sugar in our blood. So sugar is actually the word. It's not blood fat. It's not blood energy. It's blood sugar. So maybe we need to start to open up our minds to, why do they call it blood sugar? It's because everything that we eat breaks down into sugar in our bodies, and that's what we use for fuel. So carbohydrates break down the easiest into sugar, into our bodies. Fats, it's almost impossible to turn a fat into sugar. Proteins, it takes more work for the body to turn it into sugar. So that's why proteins are actually recommended in the communities, because, it's going to take more energy from the body, which means it's going to burn more calories to turn a protein into energy. Why use that extra energy in your body to process proteins into energy when you can use that energy for movement, for training, for being in a good mood, for smiling, and for contributing and for helping other people in your life? If you had 10% more energy in your life because you just used carbs for fuel instead of protein for fuel, which takes 10% of your energy away from you, then you would have more life to live. So with that being said, if we focus on carbohydrates as our fuel, which if we've already exhausted carbs, we can use fats, but we can't be eating carbs and fats at the same time, because then we won't be in ketosis, which is what uses fat for fuel. So we either have to bump ourselves into ketosis and stop eating carbohydrates so that we can rely on fats for fuel, or we surrender to carbs and we use carbohydrates as fuel, because carbohydrates break down into fuel the easiest. And then we don't have to spend that extra energy turning proteins into energy, and we're not going to ever turn fat into energy. Fat, when we're eating carbohydrates, stores as fat, but we need a little bit of fat because we don't want to not have that essential fat on our body. We do want to have that fat in our diet and store it on our body because it makes our bodies look better. It rounds out the edges. We do not want to have angle elbows. You know what I mean? So if we start to hear blood sugar as, hey, you know what? I can eat sugar. Of course, what carbohydrates we choose, that's a whole other topic. But all carbohydrates break down into sugar in the body. And so I say have a balance of it all. Have the whole carbohydrates, have the refined carbohydrates, and find your balance so that you feel good in your stomach and you feel energized in your life and in your body. Because if you eat too much whole food, you might feel bloated. And if you eat too much refined carbohydrates, you might feel zung out and you don't feel that full grounded feeling in your body. So if you find that perfect balance with whole and refined, and it can come in the form of liquid like juices and stuff, then you're gonna feel perfect. You're gonna hit your sweet spot. You're gonna live your trophy life with that trophy energy, and you're gonna smash your days and you're gonna reach your trophy body. Okay, lots of love. See you in the next one. Bye. Welcome back. Today's conversation is about filling up the gas tank and then pressing the gas pedal, because I want us to think of eating and using the energy as two different things, because if we don't think of them as two different things, then we may not understand that we need to do the second thing, which is move, in order to be utilizing the fuel. Not just to use the energy, but also to store the energy for later use. And so movement is a huge component of having the carbohydrates coming in and being used and then being stored, and then whatever we don't need we eliminate, right? So in order for us to keep this cycle going strong, so that we're really building up strength in the process of taking energy in and then using the energy, we need to be in movement. And I know that when I say this message, I hear it possibly being translated as becoming obsessed with moving and thinking that I have to always be moving and I have to always be training and I have to always be exercising or whatever. But what we just want to notice is that our fuel source is energizing, so we're able to stay moving throughout the day. And we really do feel good as humans when we're in movement. I know that there are times when we're resting, but ideally we would only be resting if we have earned some rest. You know what I mean? We want to be moving. We want to be taking care of our environment. We want to be taking care of our family or ourselves, keeping our homes clean, keeping our car clean, contributing in some way, whether it's work or whether it's to the environment or both. And so we are in movement, and then we are utilizing the fuel that we're eating. We're using it in the moment and we're storing it for later. And so what I want us to think about too is when we are using the fuel by pushing the gas pedal, that's the movement. We don't need to go 70 on the freeway. We need to cruise control a lot of the time through town. You know what I mean? Just 30 to 35 miles an hour. A lot of the times we're just going 25 miles an hour. We're in the kid zone. We're in the school zones. Sometimes we're in the residential areas going 10 to 15 miles an hour. Now, occasionally there's going to be times when we're going 40 miles an hour. We're in a workout and we're pumping the gas up to 45 miles an hour. Maybe if we're advanced in our fitness and in our strength and in our cardiovascular capabilities, we're going up to 55 miles per hour, maybe 60. But it's not necessary, because that speed is very intense for the body and it causes stress in the body. And so staying out of that zone just has us progressing faster in every way, shape, and form, because our hormones are more balanced, we're not triggering that stress, and we're able to stay more consistent. You hear that saying, consistency is key. Well, it's repetitions equals results. So max repetitions. So repetitions is consistency, is practicing daily. We want to just get reps in, because if you're putting your body into these reps, into repetition, then everything in your body adapts to those reps. Everything in your body adjusts so that you can keep doing that, because that's what you're doing, is you're putting your body into that motion, and your body says, okay, I'll strengthen to be able to keep doing this daily. That is how intelligent the body is, and how supportive our bodies are in wanting us to be strong and wanting us to be able to do what we are doing and what we want to do. So they support us in that by adapting. And so staying at 35 and below in pushing the gas is key. And only if you're more advanced, you can be pushing up to 45, 50 miles an hour. And you're working towards that. And you get to push up to 45 and 50 miles per hour when you get to that point. So it's a reward. You earn it, but you don't get to get it before you earn it, or else you just have setbacks. They're inevitable. You don't get to choose. You don't get to be unfit, push into the 45 mile per hour zone, and be able to stay consistent. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work for anybody, because the body doesn't work like that. The body doesn't let you go out of your strength zone. So that's why in my classes, and I know Stephanie too, we encourage you to stay in your strength zone, which means only be in your strength. Imagine getting through a whole class where you never have to struggle, where you never push yourself into that point where you're wincing inside and you're like triggering that like vomit feeling, right? Where you're like, ugh, right? You don't want to go there ever. You want to be in your strength. You want to be feeling good. You want to be feeling so good after a workout that you could do another one right afterwards. That is the goal. Trust me when I say that by staying out of that stress zone, you are going to get faster results, be more consistent, feel better overall, balance your hormones, prevent setbacks. You're going to lower the risk of setbacks, and setbacks include injuries too. And so you don't want those, right? You don't want your immune system to weaken because of overtraining your body, because then if you get sick, it's a setback. So reducing setbacks is a huge part of making faster progress. Just by reducing setbacks, we all think we need to be pushing forward. No. We need to be reducing setbacks. All right, trophies. So fuel your bodies with your one fuel focus with carbohydrates, or if you've already tried that and it doesn't work for you, now you're on the fats. And then use your carbs by staying in movement. 5 miles up to 45 miles an hour if you're very advanced. Otherwise, 35 miles per hour is the sweet spot. Stay in motion. And that's when you're training. You're a lot of the times in the 5 to 25 mile per hour range. Cooking, cleaning, bathing, working, taking care of kids, taking care of your environment, etc., etc. I love these little chats. Okay, trophies, have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. We are vlogging. We got topics. This one's a quick one. I just was at yoga, and right at the beginning, the beautiful yoga teacher said that we were in that class to have a beautiful yoga experience. And even if we only got through 5 minutes of class and then we had to rest for the rest of class, or if we had to modify our movement through the entire class, or if we were on our A game through the whole class, it doesn't matter. As long as we're there to experience yoga within our mind, body, and soul. And so no matter what you bring to a rebounder class, to our classes, you showing up, that habit is what gets you the results. So we need to step back from the actions that we're putting into the class, and we need to take one step back and understand the importance of the action of getting to class. Because once we're there, we can trust that we can honor our own energy levels, and we can go at our own intensity, and we can pause at any point if we want to. And so even if we just lasted 1 minute, better than no minutes, right? But there's a very high chance that we're going to last longer than a minute, and we're going to start to feel good. We're going to start to tap into those feel good chemicals, and we're going to start to enjoy our time in the movement. And then we actually sit back and we say, what was I afraid of? Why didn't I have more excitement for this class? Because moving is fun, it feels good, and I actually love being in action. We often think about the movement as pain and as exhausting and as a chore, as exercise, but we actually enjoy being in the movement and in the motion. And so if we start to realize that we could be looking forward to our times of movement that we give ourselves in the day, we could be looking forward to them, then our whole world will shift around. Because then not only will we do our jumping movement, but we also may notice that we get to other forms of movement in our days, in our weeks, in our months, because now we're realizing that we can do more. We can get back into a form of movement that we did when we were younger and we gave up on it. Even if it was just a hobby like painting or drawing, that is a form of movement in a way, because we are doing something active and we're being creative and we're using our minds. We underestimate how many calories we burn just by being alive, asleep or awake. We burn so many calories. And so what if we all said to ourselves every day, calories are burned. check, taken care of. Now I just want to do what I love. I want to jump in a jumping class with I Jump Instead, or with any jumping instructors online. I want to go to the pool and go swimming. I want to go to a yoga class. I want to go to the gym and I want to do something active at the gym. I want to do fun things, and I want to challenge myself a little bit, and I want to see myself make progress with things, and I want to be proud of myself, and I want to kick ass and take names. So with this mind shift and with this understanding of showing up being the most important thing of all, then we can start to turn our lives around and have incredible success and reach our trophy goals and live our best trophy lives. Okay, trophies, see you in the next one. Bye.